Hi everyone, Jill Marsh here again from the Learning and Teaching Department, and today we are going to cover one of the most common questions we receive about Office 365, and that is, where's the best place to store or work on one's files? Within the Office 365 suite of products, there are multiple places that someone could work, collaborate, store, or save files. This is great and allows for a lot of flexibility, but it can also be confusing, which is why we're going to take a few minutes here today to share some helpful tips for you to consider as you begin your work here in Geneva. To start, the first thing you should know is that there are 3 places you could potentially save files and/or work. They are as follows. OneDrive, which again is the Microsoft Cloud storage system. It's similar to Google Drive if you've used that before, or other cloud-based storage systems that perhaps you're more familiar with. Microsoft Teams, which is this digital starting point or hub for both staff and students. And finally, Sharepoint, which is a publishing and communication platform within Office 365. Ultimately, the location you will want to store and/or work will depend on what you would like to do and who you would like to work with. Let's take a closer look at each of these tools so that you will be able to determine which one will be best to maximize your personal workflow. First up is OneDrive. OneDrive is all about you and your personal or private documents. Think of it as the me space. This is a great place to store files that you are working on individually or are in a draft form. You are the sole owner of all the files in your OneDrive, and while you can share documents with others for collaborative purposes, the sharing and permissions can get a little tricky with files stored in OneDrive. So this is best for sharing things in the short term or with 1 or 2 people. If you find yourself sharing or collaborating with another colleague quite often, or with a larger group, you might want to consider sharing files via Microsoft Teams instead. Microsoft Teams is all about collaboration. Think of it as the we space. This is a great place to organize and store files that you share with colleagues, perhaps in a PLC team, or with students via a class team. Everyone in the team has equal access and editing rights to the documents stored within the team's file structure. These could be things that are in a draft form or are more permanent copies that multiple people need to access. Use this system instead of emailing attachments to colleagues or students, and you will find that it's much easier to find what you need. Last up is Sharepoint, which is best for published documents. Think of it as the us or everyone space. We use SharePoint sites in Geneva for official documents and resources for large groups of staff and students. For example, our district intranet site is a SharePoint site. As you prepare for the upcoming school year, we have a couple of helpful questions for you to consider to help guide your work here in Geneva. Is this related to personal productivity? Is this a draft? If the answer to both of those questions is yes, you might want to consider saving that file or document to your personal or private OneDrive. Does this involve collaboration with a group? Do I share things or collaborate often with this person or group of colleagues? If so, perhaps you want to consider saving your files or documents within a team. And lastly, is this information important for a large group? Is this meant for consumption? Then reach out to an instructional coach or your building or department administrator, and they can help you get to the resources you would need to upload that document to our district SharePoint sites. We are so excited that you have joined our Geneva 304 team, and we look forward to meeting you during the new teacher orientation.